You are about to witness history in the making.
Hi guys, welcome. It's another Pop Culture Gamers podcast, episode 36. We haven't got a name for the shows yet, as we normally put them on the post, but I'm sure we'll come up with one by the end of the show.
Sure we will.
So, welcome Haydn, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, thanks Steve.
Good. How's your week been? Pretty good?
It's been quiet, to be honest. It's not much has been going on. I never got to see Glass this week, but I'm hoping to go and see that. Next week. I had a bit of a nice surprise because I've seen adverts for the Orville, but I thought it was like ones running up to it being re-released. And no, the Orville's been out for about 3 weeks, evidently.
Yeah, apparently my box told me that as well, but I've not bothered, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Sky being Sky, you know, the series link will record it whenever it comes on again. No, it doesn't work.
Oh, it did for me.
It hasn't for me.
Ah, see. You haven't got that link with Sky, you see.
Well, I do have that link with Sky, but it just doesn't work. Anyway, I watched the first 3 episodes of that, which was quite nice. I'll talk more about that later on.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, bit of a quieter week gaming too. I've only completed 2 games this week.
Oh, shock horror.
One on Xbox One and one on PlayStation.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, you know...
Go on.
Well, I actually quite enjoyed the one on the Xbox One a lot more than the PlayStation one, to be honest. It was just sort of like a bit of a cheesy, sort of like Street Fighter-ish sort of... Well, not Street Fighter-ish, but... Double Dragon kind of thing, but only with one dragon, as it were. It was all right. Nothing special. But I did also complete Planet Alpha again. So, but I didn't get all of the trophies for that, so I'm going to go back and mop up that because I seem to be starting to get a little bit of OCD-ness with some of these games.
Yeah.
Started We Happy Few as well.
Okay, that's enough said.
For what I've played of it so far, which isn't much, to be fair, I don't know why. I know that you're feeling angry because it's not the game you thought it was going to be, but it doesn't seem bad, to be honest.
No, each their own for it, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm not really that into the survival sort of games either, same as you, but it didn't seem too bad. I still feel it's got very much sort of like a reminiscent art style of BioShock in there.
Oh, it still has, but mud sticks, I think, from what's happened with it, to be honest. Yeah.
It's like Fable and BioShock had a love child. That's, in terms of its visual appearance, that's sort of like what it looks like. But I didn't play it anywhere near enough to actually do a review, so I'm not even going to attempt that, to be quite honest with you. And then on Friday night, I don't know where you were on Friday, but Chris, our All Fire Team member, has got Destiny 2, so I was helping him through with some of the story.
Because I was there earlier in the week with him before you doing some stuff with him. He's completed the story now, by the way.
He has. I know. I saw his message.
And he's now started the Mercury with the first DLC, which is the Osiris DLC. So he's playing that now. So I hopped on with him late last night. We were up to about 1 a.m. playing that, and got him on his merry way with that. So just going to catch him up to speed, hopefully, as soon as we can.
Yeah, well, I think I've nearly finished my first Forge thing as well. I've got to go back and do the EDZ, go back to the EDZ for one more thing, I think.
Yeah, on which platform?
On Xbox.
Oh, okay, because I say I haven't seen you on there yet for Donkeys. It seems like a long time.
Well, I have been on, but I've been playing different games.
Yeah, but what you've been doing is, I think you've been undercover.
I think, to be honest, a couple of times I've forgot that I've had the appear offline switched on.
Yeah, I was telling Chris that, and I said, look, sometimes he just doesn't realise, and we've all been playing as we do, but you sometimes end up being in secret mode, so we don't know you're around.
Yeah, sometimes I forget to switch it off.
Just leave it on all the time. It's not a problem, is it?
What, being online?
Yeah.
No, I suppose it isn't. It's just like sometimes if I just want to just concentrate on something,
it's like with Chris this week, because we did 2 or 3 nights this week. As soon as I come on at 10 o'clock, bing, Chris saw me come online, invite, we were chatting away, and then we just started getting into it, sort of thing, because he saw me pop on. So, yes, and I haven't seen, he's been on it today, but I've been busy with another game, of course, and which we'll talk about later. Yes,
because I've been busy with that one as well.
Very busy, I think is the word I'd use, and with all the debacle that's in the background as well, which is one of the questions from what we have as well, which we're bringing to it as well. So,
yeah.
So, a couple of little things I've been doing this week. So, Guardian Radio is now ceased to be. They've finished their podcasting with Guardian Radio. So, Destiny is no more. It was just a progression thing for them, apparently. And real shame to see them go, because it's always my go-to Destiny podcast. So they got other things in the mix. They got some Marvel MCU stuff in the works, and the other guys still do their YouTube stuff and that. So there's always somewhere to talk to someone about it. But the main host started a new podcast. And what he's done is they've decided to pick a show with his co-host for this podcast. They've gone to do a podcast on a TV show they've never watched, and then they go through each episode each week, and they're doing Doctor Who.
All right, okay.
So they're starting from Christopher Eccleston's season, which is the reboot back in 2005. So I've been listening to that show, because they don't get the British stuff sometimes, and just they're really sort of getting into it now. I mean, they're probably 3/4 of the way through the season. So I've been really listening to that, and I sent them an email about some bits and pieces to put them straight, as you do. But it sort of prompted me to start watching it from 2005 myself.
Right.
So as much as I can say this in the TV, yeah, I've caned the first season of Doctor Who, and I'll mention it a little bit when we talk about TV.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we got her a domain name. She set herself up with a cat sitting service for the local area. And that's one of the things she's wanting to venture into as well at the moment, where she's got some spare time. Fair enough. We're in the middle of getting that set up at the moment as well, which has been a bit of a pain. But it's just it was finding the right place to go to for the website. And then we got to get it set up with Google as well. So we're getting there. We're nearly getting it so we can publish it.
I'll tell you what you also want to do as well is it's a free service, but get the script to get Google Analytics, which is like a free service. You put in this piece of code on each of the pages, and then Google Analytics will tell you how many hits that you're getting, how long people stay on for, what pages are going to, what platforms they're on, everything.
Yeah.
Even what age range and what language you speak, where, what part of the world that they come from, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's still going to be sort of local, because it's the sort of service she's going to do for for the local area.
Yeah, but what I mean is it lets you test to make sure that you're actually hitting the right people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can have a chat about that off air at some point.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get it ready to publish it, to get it online at the moment. So it ain't straightforward these days, just doing that.
Well, it is. A lot of it comes down to the keywording.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you actually come up on that list as well.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what Google's, algorithm is in terms of that. It's a closely guarded secret. It's probably more closely guarded to, whether or not aliens actually did exist in Area 51, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see your point, yeah.
But because otherwise everybody would be able to get right to the top of Google's list.
That's it. I mean, I'm hoping that if someone does a search for local area, that because there isn't one I can see really there is in the area, so we're hopefully making a niche in the market. There's a lot of dog sitting and a lot of dog walking for the area, obviously with the beaches and the woods and that. But from the point of where if you want to go away for a weekend and you've got cats, there's not a lot on that side of the market. So we'll see. Let's see how it goes.
Who did you go with?
What, for the website? I think it was Wix.
Right, okay.
I don't know if they're any good or not, but, just sort of pushing it through. And it's just sort of, we're going running with it. We'll see how it goes. I mean, she wants to give it a go. So we'll see how that progresses.
Well, yeah, why not? Might as well.
Yeah. Other than that, it's all about another game, which we'll talk about a bit later, which is just amazing. So, should we get on with gaming this week?
Yep.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, so just before we talk about gaming this week, I've more mentioned to Haydn. I'm in the house on my own with my dog, so do apologise if you get any barking going on because he does get a bit tetchy when he's sitting around in his Todd, and if he can hear anything going on, he will make it known that he's around. So hopefully it will be quiet, but we'll see how Yoda copes with that. Anyway, news this week. So you got a couple of stories here, Haydn, for us?
I have. First off, there's been a leaked post somewhere of a listing of Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation Collection, which is evidently for online retailers for the Switch, and evidently due out for release on the 15th of February. It's supposedly going to cost £35, and it will include Assassin's Creed 3 and the Liberation game, which was originally one that tied in with Assassin's Creed 3, but it was exclusive to the Vita.
Right.
Obviously, not so exclusive to the Vita nowadays. The actual Liberation Collection's also coming out on PC, PS4 and Xbox One, and if you had the Odyssey Season Pass, then you'll be getting that for free on whichever platform it is that you bought it on anyway. But I just thought that was an interesting one for all of our Switch users, of which there are many. Might like to know about the fact that there's going to be, an Assassin's Creed game on the platform. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how that copes with it, to be honest.
I must admit, though, out of all of them, I would have rather have had 2 and Brotherhood rather than 3, because Connor, I just found him to be a very annoying kind of protagonist.
Yeah.
His father, who was the antagonist in the game, was actually, I think, a bit more approachable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you want to read? I do have one bit of news which I'm going to bring in with some news when we start talking about gaming. But do you want to talk about your other bit of news you got there?
Yeah, about Metroid Prime 4. In a matter of fact, a little while ago, it was announced by Nintendo that they were going to scrap the development of that for the Switch. Well, evidently, the Nintendo Senior Managing Executive Officer announced on the Nintendo YouTube channel that they've actually restarted development of this game. The video did state that what Nintendo wants to do is ensure high quality, because what we do know is that Nintendo games very, very rarely crash or anything like that. They're always programmed exceptionally well. But they think that this is going to take a little bit longer than they'd originally anticipated in terms of the development. And the reason why they announced it was going to not be developed was because of quality concerns, but they think they found a way around it. So that's good news. That's definitely good news for Switch owners being able to get hold of a Metroid game.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just clicking away here while you're doing this, and I've been trying to just get these other bits in. Okay, releases this week.
Yep.
Do you want to do those, and I'll do the game charts? Okay,
so gaming releases for this week. We have Genesis Alpha 1 on PS4, Xbox and PC. That's on the 29th. Also the 29th, Kingdom Hearts 3, PS4 and Xbox One. We've got Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy on the Switch. And then from the 1st, we have Child of Light and Valiant Hearts on the Switch. Quar Infernal Machines on PS4 and PSVR. Warhammer 40,000 Eternal Crusade on the PS4 and Xbox One. And that's out on the 4th.
Okay, what do you think there? Anything take your fancy at all or not? I think this is a quiet time for a very brief moment, isn't it?
Well, not for some people, because Kingdom Hearts...
Oh, yeah,
is,
of course.
A big one for a lot of people, isn't it? But I've never been a big fan of that franchise, so... Yeah, nothing there for me this month, I don't think. Or this week, I don't think.
I'd like to know how it goes with the Kingdom Hearts review, as much as to see how it plays out, because, I mean, people have been waiting that for freaking years by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, there's a few versions of it out, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
I just don't really see the appeal with sort of like mixing kind of Final Fantasy with Mickey Mouse.
No, I know what you mean. It's a bit of... But yeah, I'm sure it'll go up in the charts. Meaning so, if we look at the charts now...
Yeah.
So, from 2 down to 5, we've got FIFA 19. 4 at 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. 3 at 3, Red Redemption 2. In at 2, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. And staying at top of the tree at number 1, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So that's pretty much...
Yes, it's important to keep the U in there.
I know it is, yeah, because I get told off.
Yeah.
But nice to see Ace Combat come in there.
It is. I've got that disc in my sweaty palms.
Oh, you got it now? Oh, great. So we can try maybe a bit of multiplayer at some point.
Yep, I've got it installed. I haven't played yet.
Okay. But, okay, so... Yeah, I can talk about a little bit about that. I've got a bit more forward with that in the game. Games of Gold and PlayStation Plus are a bit quiet for the moment, obviously. Yeah,
I think that we've just the wrong side of the weekend, aren't we, for those announcements?
Yeah, we are. Okay, so if we move swiftly on, we'll talk about our gaming this week.
And again, we don't need to pause here.
Okay. It's a habit, isn't it?
It's all in the same box. We're all right.
It is. Anyway, so before we talk about the game we've both been playing, do you want to talk about Grand Tour?
Okay. Well, I mean, this is a $11.99 game from Amazon.
Which does think that we're looking at a bit of a poor game, doesn't it, at that price?
Well, to be honest, the cost of a game isn't always, indicative of the price of it,
not at all.
Is it?
But you think, being such a big in stature as what the Grand Tour is for Amazon, and what we have with Top Gear and what the guys have done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, if I explain how this works to you as a game, because it is an unusual sort of game.
Yeah.
So this directly obviously links to the Grand Tour show, and there is, Clarkson and, everyone in there as well. But this is how it plays. It plays as a normal episode, and it plays the film from the normal episodes. There's 4 episodes that you can play in total, one on the first 2 seasons each, and then 2 on the 3rd season. Which
has just started up, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you're playing the game, and then when it goes into the driving aspect of the game, that's where you take over.
Okay.
So you'll see that, you see them all sitting there in the tent or wherever it is that they are talking and whatever, and then you can skip through those bits using like James May to slow down or Clarkson to speed up the video. Or you could go backwards with James May as well. And when it gets to the end, it then goes into the driving bit, and there's basically lots of different types of driving sort of styles. The races are delivered with a variety of objectives, which can include getting as much drift as you can on a car, or within a certain amount of time. Yeah. You can complete a circuit in the fastest time, or you can race against the other presenters, and there are other things as well, in that as well. When you're racing against the presenters, that's probably when it's at its most fun. So during the race, you'll pick up, pickups like in Mario Kart sort of style.
Oh, okay.
But rather than being like missiles or stupid things like that, there are things that are more realistic. So, for example, on Mario Kart, there always was the thing of splashing up oil onto the screen of somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that it blackens the middle part of the screen, so you can't see where you're driving to slow you down. Well, this game's version of it is sending a text message to the person, which then obscures your view in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
So you can only see the edge.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's another one where you get control of their radio, and you can, it turns the volume up and everything starts shaking in the car because of so much sound in there. Yeah, stuff, little things like that. Or if you're right at the front, you might get the pickup for dropping smoke. So you drop smoke a la sort of like James Bond.
Yeah, okay. With his DB5.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's all of those sort of things that, that are in there, to be quite honest, which make it a bit of fun. Now, in terms of the graphics, graphically, this looks really quite stunning. It's not quite there with Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah.
But it does look really, well presented. The landscapes look fantastic. But then again, they probably can afford to add in that extra bit of processing power because it's very linear levels.
Okay, sorry about this. My dog's just licking my nose. I don't know what he's doing here. Sorry. Do apologise. Carry on, mate. Sorry, carry on.
It's all right. So, yeah, so they're very linear levels. And, as a result of that, they don't have to do the big open world environment that things like Forza do. But, so I think that helps out then with a little bit of extra processor power for the graphics.
Right, okay.
Because I've got this on the Pro and it looks really good. Yeah. To be fair. Now we come to the negative.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. If you're a fan of the show, it's like you're sort of taking part, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Or like you become one of the presenters.
Yeah.
Or at least you become like the Stig kind of character. So, the negatives. Unfortunately, the controls of the cars can be a bit of a dog's dinner. Yeah. To be quite honest with you. This is where it falls down. Because either the cars feel like hypersensitive, and then you end up having a game of ping pong between the barriers of both sides of the road. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you're in a bobsleigh, is it?
Yeah, well, worse than that, to be quite honest, And then other times, it just feels like they're not analog. It's a bit, like on the old days when you used to do steering on like, Ridge Race or whatever. Yeah. And you held the button down for like a half a second and it did a quarter of a turn. If, by one click, it kind of can feel like that as well. So the controls need refining. The other thing, and this is actually probably its selling point that gets in the way, is the fact that you just want to get on with playing the game. And when you then have to start watching the show, you end up just fast forwarding it. There isn't an option to just say, just give me the levels. You have to go through the video as well. And I think this is the second time that this is the first time that PlayStation have done or have a game on their system like this where it's, got purpose video, even though that is like reconstituted purposes. And obviously Quantum Break previously where it had the videos, and it just doesn't work because as a gamer you want to get on with the game. You don't want to sit and play a video for watch a video for about 4 or 5 minutes and then play 2 minutes of a game and then watch another video for 4 or 5 minutes. It doesn't work.
So it's like this is trying to be more of an immersive experience and interactive than it is a game that's playing a racing game.
Basically, don't think of it so much as a game as more like an interactive version of the show. I mean, but having said all of that, despite this, there's still a charm about it. There's one of the things that you can do in a race, or that you have to do, is get from A to B, and make sure that Hammond doesn't scream too much. So and things like that, or not come off the track, otherwise you get time penalties. And all of your levels are rated as in bronze, silver and gold, and then a toilet seat. So if you do really badly, you get the toilet seat award, and then if you do better, you get one of the other levels. So there's a lot of the show's humour in there. Obviously there's the videos in there as well, and if you really love the videos, then you've got that as well. Although I did find the playback to be a bit jerky on the Pro. It wasn't as smooth as streaming it from directly from Amazon. I don't know why that is, whether or not, even if they are streaming it directly through, there's something in the way in which it's playing on the Pro that just makes it jump every few seconds, which is a bit unfortunate. But it's only $11.99. It's not going to break the bank, and to be honest, it's a lot better than a lot of the driving games that are already on the PlayStation.
Now, do you think if you're a fan of the show,
if you're a fan of the show, I think you should go for it. If you can't stand Clarkson and the group, seriously, keep away from it, because you will see them constantly. You will hear them constantly in the game. It's very much a fan sort of based game. It's enjoyable, but it's no more than a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Certainly it's a fan thing.
Yeah, obviously. That's a real shame. I mean, when I saw the price, that just sort of made me think, well, this ain't going to go well.
That's it. If you're a fan, you'll enjoy it. If you're not a fan, you're not going to enjoy it. But to be honest, it's that nature of game, because it's a video game for the show. And what they've done is quite, innovative. And I do like the way that they've done some of the races with, the novelty of texting the person in front of you to slow them down. It's that sort of humour which lifts it up a bit.
It's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
It is. And also, you can have pretty horrific accidents in it, and the damage on the car is, I don't even think I've ever noticed any damage on the car. Do you know what I mean? Even if you have hit something at like 180 mile an hour.
Excuse me.
So, but only buy it if you like it, but you'll probably get something out of it if you do, even if it's just watching the show.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come down in price though, won't it?
Well, I don't know, because it's a digital release, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
But then again, it might be on the PlayStation Store. Well, it is on the PlayStation Store, obviously. So, yeah, it probably will come down in price, but $11.99 is not a lot to ask for it.
No. Okay. Any other games you want to talk about quickly? Anything else?
No, like I said, I'm not going to talk about We Happy Few because I've just not played it enough.
Okay. So I did mention briefly that Palavar's Chris have been playing Destiny for a bit. So that's that. Also, where Ace Combat 7 is concerned, we mentioned last week about, when you're getting a bit of a rough time trying to complete a part of a game and you sort of have to put it down. Well, that happened to me with Mission 5.
Okay.
And I was on the last, which I assume was the last wave of the mission with what was going on. And it kept saying, you failed. I thought, what am I doing wrong? So what I did was I went back to the start of the game, of that mission, and changed for a different plane to use. And that did the trick, and I completed the mission.
So you just chosen the wrong type of plane for that mission?
More than likely, yeah. I mean, it was more to do with what weapons I was using with the plane. So doing that is, and I knocked it out of the bag first time. But again, it is a great game. I still can't get over what that VR is like. It's just incredible.
It very arcadey?
In what way?
Well, in the gameplay sort of way.
Well, no, it all looks. It's more. It looks realistic.
No, I'm not about the way it looks.
What do you want to hear?
About the way it plays. Does it play realistic, or does it?
It does. It's not full sim and it's not arcade. It's sort of in between the two. And when you got the way the Japanese work with some of their games, you sort of get the feeling there's a bit of cheese mixed in with this. But when you listen to the pilots and how the story progresses, it's just great. It is. I don't think there's nothing really to knock it.
If you understand in the terms of the scale that I'm thinking of, with Mario Kart being at the lowest end of, like the pure arcade, and Gran Turismo being at the sim end of Project Cars, this to me seems like it's the flight combat equivalent of Forza. Do you know what I mean in terms of where it is on that scale?
Yeah. Well, you can tell me next week when you've played it if you get to put it in the box.
It's in the box. It's installed. I just not switched it on because I've been too busy playing the other game.
Yes. So, should we bring in? Do you want to bring in Nikki's question first?
No, I don't. This? To be quite honest, because I haven't watched IGN.
No, it's not about watching IGN. It's about what they've done.
I don't pay attention to IGN generally.
So I spoke to Nikki yesterday. If we bring his question in just before we start talking about it, if we can find. There we go. So Nikki Wilson, he said, "What do you think about IGN's dodgy review for Resident Evil 2 /Scandal? What do you ever read or watch reviews? Do you read or watch reviews from IGN anymore?" And obviously, some time ago, IGN was probably done for plagiarism more than anything, with one of their members that got the sack.
I do.
If you remember that. And so I looked into this morning, and I didn't realise. I was a bit shocked, to be honest, because especially who it was. So IGN brought out their review for Resident Evil 2. They gave it a mediocre score. I think it was around the 8s, or just maybe 8.9 or something like that. And they were saying in the review that after we played Leon, if you played the Claire, it's the same story, and can't see the point in it and all this. Now, this is very brief. There's more to it if you want to look into it, and you can. I'm sure there's a few videos on YouTube about people complaining, and it's far from the truth, because once you've finished playing on, say you start with Leon, you play the Claire scenario as a B scenario, and you get a similar story, but there's a flip on it because you're seeing from her side of the game. Yeah, because
you end up interacting in all of the parts where
exactly.
Things change because of Leon doing stuff in the rooms as well.
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be some bits which you're going to get. There's going to be a sort of a tee off, and you're going to learn a bit more about the story because you're going down the different characters' route. And none of this was mentioned in the review, saying that it was exactly the same. What's the point of it? So people started to think, well, has he actually really played this properly? Yeah. And believe it or not, the person that did the review was Damon Hadfield. And he's one of the top guys for IGN. So what had happened is the review that went online, it then suddenly a paragraph was missing.
Yeah.
And then it was changed to be about 9.2 or something on the review. And people have commented and tried to talk to him about it, and he's been blocking him on Twitter.
I'm not surprised, to be quite honest. People don't like being called out, do they?
No, but you could have held your hand up to it, though, and said, well, look, do you know what? I made a mistake. I've got a lot of reviews going on at the moment. I didn't get to complete the games. I didn't look into it as much, but it was as plain as day that when you start the second scenario, it will tell you, scenario B with the opposite character than when you started with. So, yeah, very interesting. Anyway, other than that...
Well, I mean, that is completely wrong in every way, shape or form.
It is, isn't it?
I think it's one thing to say, this is my review and I've only got so far of the way through the game, but I can't see it changing. I think it's another thing to either play a game for 10 minutes and then pretend that you've played it loads. Unless, of course, it's a game that you can finish in 10 minutes, in which case that's all it takes.
Well, he reckoned he completed in 8 hours.
No, because the gameplay is supposed to be 15 hours for both, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of dubious Doesn't add up, does it?
No, that is just so naff, to be quite honest.
But anyway, so if we go back to 1995, and I picked up Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation, and for me, this was one of those defining moments in gaming, and it was one of those games that probably scared the pants off me at one point. It just came through as I just didn't expect the sort of game I got. And obviously with the second playthrough as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be 98 that you went to, actually. It
was 98 or 95? Yeah, 98. I do apologise, but 98. And it's about, it's 20 years old, so it would be 98, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. So it's one of those games that for me is just, is really top of what it is. And for now to come into this game 20 years later, and I've got to say, for me, this is more of a surprise than how well this game is put together. Considering we've already played a bit of the demo.
I never played the demo. I deliberately steered clear.
Well, that's fine. The demo for 30 minutes is a drop in the ocean for this game. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Excuse me.
But to be honest, wow, for me, this is a game-changing game to play. With all the games you've got to play at the moment, this is just something I can't stop playing.
Do you know what? What I find quite amusing is there's been a lot of talk last year about single-player games are no longer profitable to make, and they're not popular and blah, blah, blah. You look at your friends list, most of them are playing this game. You know, the only people who would be looking at the friends list and their friends not playing this game would be like my son. You know, anybody who's going to be an adult is, going to want to play this unless you're really, really squirmish. But yeah, I mean, I picked up the original Resident Evil on the PlayStation. I almost picked this up, PlayStation as well. But then I thought, no, I'm going to go for PC. Because I'd heard that it had lots of different controls for graphics. My God, it has millions of them.
I'm sure it does. I mean, looking at the reviews via the console look, and between the four of them, so I'm talking PlayStation Pro, Xbox One X, and there's not a great deal. There are some noticeable differences.
Yeah.
But for me, that's why I went with the Xbox, because I thought, if anything, that's what I'm going to get the best out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, in terms of it, to me, Resident Evil doesn't feel like Resident Evil unless it's on a PlayStation, because I first started playing it on a PlayStation. It's just like Final Fantasy. I find it difficult to get used to it being on the Xbox.
I know what you mean, and if this game, they decided to throw it out in VR, let's say they do, I will be buying it on PlayStation as well. But I thought I'll go for the better machine hardware-wise as it stands, and that's why I went down.
And that's fair enough, and I'm not criticising you for that either. I'm just saying that, for me, there's something about the shape of having that PlayStation controller.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's so many Resident Evil games now that I've played on the PlayStation that it's come sort of second nature now. Although what I will say is that I did pick up the deluxe edition, and I am playing it with the original soundtrack. And that sort of puts the hairs on the back of my neck, because when I first walked into the police station, I just suddenly recognised that music from playing that from 20 years ago. And with all the sound effects as well, with that you get while you're playing the game, when you're sort of navigating the menus, putting stuff in and out of your chests. I'm loving it. It looks amazing. They've done a fantastic job using the Resident Evil 7 engine. The shadows, the lighting effects, the gameplay for the mechanics, because they've tweaked that again, all for the better. I haven't got a bad thing really I want to say about this game, to be honest.
I mean, for me, horror's never been my it's not my bag normally, but I do like Resident Evil games, and I like the Resident Evil movies as well, to be quite honest. So playing this game, it's just such a bit of a breath of fresh air, really, and it's made me more, I was playing it and I was thinking, do you know what? I actually want to do Resident Evil 5 with you now, like we said we were going to do on the Xbox. You know, it's made me more want to do that now. And also I've been thinking I need to get Resident Evil 7 back in the tray to play it. Because I've never played it. I've got it. I've just not played it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's been sat there installed on my hard drive for ages and I've just not gone near it. And I think probably that's because I was put off by some of the poorer Resident Evils, because I think after Nemesis, it ducked in quality quite a bit.
It did. I mean, I've still picked them all up.
Yeah, so have I.
But the pinnacle really was the second one, especially with the playability of going on the Claire scenario. Yes. And I thought that was a fantastic way of playing the game, because it means you've got double the amount of time, double the amount of the enjoyment.
And there's different challenges as well, because the puzzles are different ways round and stuff like that.
Yes, because I remembered back in the day on Resident Evil 2, there was a statue puzzle where you had to move the statues on the floor.
Yes.
But that's not in this, as far as I can work out now. But the puzzles were really good. And I have seen quite a few different ones. It's funny because I was tinkering around. I've got to a point in the game where I was tinkering in my chest, and I had a couple of items, and I didn't really explore them. So obviously, if you just bring them up to view them, you can spin them around like you do in Tomb Raider
and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Are you on about the mini safes?
Oh, I did all those. I've done those as I played.
No,
those are fine.
The mini ones, not the big safes.
No, the mini saves where you've got 8 buttons. And you've got to get all the lights in a circle. Doesn't matter where you start it from. No, I've been doing those straight off the back. No, that's fine. It's using that memory, isn't it, to remember where the dots are. But you do get it in the end. It takes a few goes, obviously, to work out where they are.
But it's definitely worth opening it up because of what that gives you later on.
I did open up the two. I think is it just two of them?
3 safes at his desk.
Yeah, I did the desks, and the 2 portable safes are the important ones for me. And I got both of those opened up, and those things that were in there were put swiftly into place.
Yeah, as soon as I saw them, I thought, I know what they're for. And then how the hell do we get back there?
Oh, really? Tell you what, there's been times when I had no ammo, and I needed to get back to the security room where they are. And I had something chasing me. If you know Resident Evil, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played Resident Evil 2 back in the day, that's all I'm going to say. So I had something chasing me. I had a liquor guard in the area. I had no ammo. And I was running around trying to stop being caught. I was at the same time trying to find a plunger to move a jack.
Yes,
if you know what I'm talking about.
With Colonel Mustard.
So I was doing all of this while this other thing was chasing me. And once everything I did a little bit, I'd go back, go to a save point, save the game, then go for the next run. And mate, it's hell raising. It really is, but it's fantastic.
Well, how I know that I'm enjoying this game is because I was playing it with headphones on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool with 7.1, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant because, you're getting, I've got 7.1 headphones and I'm using Dolby Atmos processor on my PC.
Yeah.
Because if you bought it on the Xbox, you also get it on the PC as well. So, all the sounds being processed through that through my headphones. It sounds absolutely brilliant. And then
what I need to do, you're right, mate. Actually, what I need to do is just plug my headphones in and use Dolby Atmos on the Xbox. So I've not had the opportunity as yet.
That's switched on by default.
In what? Yeah. In the settings? I'm not sure if it is or not.
Mine is.
Okay. But I haven't had headphones on yet. I've just been playing the game. I've been playing. Actually, the only reason I've been playing during the day because that's the only time I had to myself.
Right, okay. It's not because you're being a wuss.
No, not at all. Look, I'll be playing this more than 2 or 3 times.
I know what you mean. I mean, I did a live stream of this on our Pop Culture Gamers YouTube channel as well. I'm actually starting to do a few more live streams with me talking and with videos on because people have asked. So if you want to join in, please do. And also don't forget, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get the name. We need 100 subscriptions. We've gone up by a few since last week, but we still need a lot more. Yeah, I mean, I was playing it, okay, and I was the normal sort of PC sort of gameplay, head over keyboard, intently looking at the screen. I just had that thing chasing me, and I was hearing all of the sounds going on where I could hear the...
Well, because when you're hearing this, yeah, exactly, and you think, I've run away quick enough and it's gone quiet. I think, okay, right, I'll get on what I've got to do. Then you can hear it again. And I open the door and he's staring me in the face. I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got to run again. And it's just
It is. Mental. But right in the middle of that, that you could hear the coming down the corridor, down the road.
Yeah. And as he gets he gets quicker and quicker because he's right on your back.
And then all of a sudden I got a hit. Screamed in my ear because I had my headphones on and it was my wife stood there and I jumped out of my skin. I mean, honestly, she could not have picked the best time to shout my name standing right behind me when I wasn't even aware that she was there. Do you know what I mean? It was just
How did you get on with another character that you see? Or was it in the right place? I'm trying to think now who it was.
Do you mean the person who says that they're working for the FBI?
Oh, Ada. Oh, she's great. No, I wasn't talking about her. I was talking about something you got to beat. Actually, another
the one with the big eye.
Yeah, that's all. I won't say who his name is because I don't spoil it for people that don't know. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I got past that first time. That wasn't a problem. But it was a couple of shots before I thought, hang on a minute, I should be shooting this in the eye, not in the head, and that's what I did. But by that point, I'd unlocked the shotgun as well.
But there was a couple of grenades hanging around as well. One in my pocket and one around the corner.
How great is it with a grenade? You equip it as a weapon, and then when a zombie attacks you, you shove it in the mouth, and then you get your gun out, and then you shoot it.
Yeah,
and it explodes.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's so cool.
But it's funny. It's funny because the way the game works and with what I've got open at the moment, there's some things I've opened up which I could have opened up later maybe, but it doesn't matter because I've still got to go back to the PlayStation. I've still got to go back to the police station. I'm sure at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the things as well. The hints that you get when you develop the photographs, because I'd been carrying around this book for ages.
Well, actually, I didn't need that photograph. Because I stumbled in the room, and sort of sussed it out.
See, well, so did you get the jewel?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And I've used it, and I've used the jewel.
Yes, so have I as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of all of that, it's like I was carrying around the book, and I forgot. I just looked and I thought it obviously needs something else, but I'll come back to it later. In the art room, and then went away, and then found a film, and then developed it in the development room. And I looked and I thought, oh God, I could have solved that puzzle straight off.
Yeah.
So, and it's definitely a good idea to unlock doors when you come across them, so that you can actually, normally what they do is give alternate, quicker routes to places as well, don't they?
Well, especially when you're being chased, I tell you what, you're trying to find the quickest route around to run back and forward just so he's out of the way.
Yeah.
How far have you got, by the way, without spoiling it?
I've got 3 keys, and I've had the dog section in the parking lot, and the chat with the guy in the cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm now trying to get something which he has.
Oh, in the cell?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't got out of the parking garage yet.
I've done that.
Right.
And the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I've left the police station.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhere completely different.
Okay.
But I know I've got to go back to the police station because, as you say, you've got 3 keys. There's one more to get.
Yeah.
And I now have stuff to get into the police station's office the PC is.
Yeah.
I think I've got everything I need to get into there.
Oh, do you mean the armory?
Yeah.
Oh, I got in that. That's easy.
Yeah, well, it's easy when you've got it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it till late, and by then I was being chased and carried the story on. But
he doesn't come into that room though.
No. But I'm saying I didn't open up what I should have opened up. If you're with me.
Yeah.
To show you what you've got. If you're with me, do you know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So yeah, but I know we're talking cryptics here, and people are wondering what the heck we're talking about. But I know people that played Resident Evil originally will know what we're on about. But
yeah.
I urge people, if you're going to buy a game this time of the year, this has got to be the game to buy.
Oh, absolutely. On whichever format it is that you want to buy it on. It's great on all. What I would say is that there's loads, I've mentioned about the graphics on the PC before. There are absolutely loads and loads of options in terms of graphics, but what the PC version does, and I understand the Xbox one does as well, I'm not sure about the PlayStation, is on some of the shiny, more more bumpy areas, it looks a little bit not quite right. Like they've just, there's something not quite right with the algorithm that they're using on it at the moment. Picks up too much false detail in there. But you can tone it down a little bit using some of the graphics options. I
haven't looked at what options there are actually for the Xbox. I've just gone and started the game, swapped the soundtrack over, and I was away. So
yeah,
but there's lots of deals as well where to pick this up.
Yeah, there are.
As much as if you want to buy it disc, you can get it from Shop 2 at a reasonable price. If you want to go for the deluxe version, don't buy it on Xbox because that's expensive. I picked mine up from CD Keys,
right,
and got it. I got at least, I think, 15% off.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, so I got the deluxe edition under £50.
That's good.
Yeah, so I could just talk about all that. There's so much I want to talk about with this game, but we can't.
Yeah, you see, the PC version for standard's 30, or it was.
Yeah,
because I didn't go deluxe. I wasn't that bothered about the soundtrack. Do you know what I mean? I knew the sound. That's what the compromise was that I was doing. But it does have other DLC with it as well. Some special guns or whatever.
Yeah, there's a gun. There's some different, some other clothing as well.
And interestingly, actually, just looking on CD Keys now, it's actually gone up by £5.
Oh, is it? What, the PC version?
Yeah, the same version as I got.
Yeah.
That's a bit naughty.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So, actually...
And Fallout is now 86% off.
That'd be free at some point, wouldn't it?
$7.79.
So, just for me at the moment, I've unlocked 17 achievements.
You have been caning it then, haven't you?
So it's a game score of 310.
You see, I can't do that sort of calculation in terms of the PC because it doesn't give you it. But I've done 12 achievements, 29% of the achievements so far.
29%?
Yeah.
12
of them.
Okay, so with 17 achievements, Xbox says it's 31% of the game.
How many did you say? With
17 achievements done.
Right.
I've done 31% of the game.
Right, okay.
But there are some great little achievements there if you pull them off.
Yes.
Especially with some of the moves you do and how you deal with it. The funny thing was, I was looking at when I was on the east side of the police station. I saw something and I just sat there and looked at it and I thought, well, what's that doing there? And it reminded me of the bobbleheads of Fallout.
Oh, yeah, it's like a little Crash Bandicoot, isn't it?
It's a raccoon.
Yeah.
So
you've got to shoot them.
You shoot that and you get an achievement.
You've got to collect them all, though.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's in there.
It is. It's a collectible to do. You've got to shoot them all.
Shooting that one, you get an achievement for that one on its own.
You do for the first one, but you need to do them all.
So I did see them around, but obviously there'll be a point you can go back and clear around and have a little wander.
Yeah.
But there's I say, a lot of replayability in this game. And, yeah, I'm loving it. It's just fantastic.
I think it's a game that we've needed for a while, to be quite honest, to be released.
Well, it's funny because a lot of as much as myself, we were all getting a bit worried at what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
Because there's so many games that have been disappointing. But this is far from disappointing, you know?
Well, I mean, the Xbox version on CD keys for the deluxe is $47.99 now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you paid for it.
I think I paid $46, for it.
Yeah. But the standard version's $39.99. I mean, to be honest, you'd probably be better off buying it.
Disc.
I
think Argos were doing it for $36.99.
Were they? Wow.
Yeah. And so was Shop 2, I think.
Mm.
So, but if you just want the game, that's fine. That's a great price for it.
Yeah, I just wanted the game. I wasn't bothered about all of the bells and whistles that went with it. Because I know what I'll do. I'll play it and then that'll be it. And then it'll just sit in my back catalogue.
Will you go for the second playthrough, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Because you've got to do both sides of the story, haven't you? But I'm not going to go for the tofu unlock. That
does unlock to a certain degree as standard, to be honest. It did back in the day.
I thought you had to get through it super quick and get an S rating or something.
Oh, well, who knows? I don't know.
Well, but I'm sure that if we asked Nicky, he'd know.
Yeah, but to do that, you've only got to play it on easy.
Do you? You sure?
If you play it on easy, the enemies are not as strong.
Yeah.
So you're going to take less bullets to kill them. There'll be more bullets around for you.
True. Well, I'm playing it on standard, and I know you are as well because it tells me.
It does. Yeah, playing it on normal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play it on easy because I don't think I need to. I mean, I played the original on the same point.
No, you don't need to be honest. Easy's for those people who really can't play very well. Let's face it, isn't it? It's people who just don't have the skills but want to play the story.
But it's good if you're going to go achievement hunting, though. There's going to be using the easy will help you get some of the other achievements in the game.
Yeah, you see, it's PC. I'm not bothered about the achievements on the PC because all games don't have them. So therefore, and also it doesn't really contribute towards a score or anything. So it's just Steam achievements mean nothing.
You sure?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah. Don't get me started on them. Trust me, don't get me started on them.
Look, we're not going to go down the road. Anyway, if we crack on then.
Yeah.
So let's move into movies, TV and streaming.
Okay.
In quest of a better life.
Okay, so funnily enough, sticking with Resident Evil, apparently there's going to be a Netflix TV show.
Allegedly.
Or rumour has it, as they say.
Yes.
So, according to Deadline, the show will explore the dark inner workings of the Umbrella Corporation of the New World Order as a result of the T-virus outbreak. This would seem to indicate the story is about the same time period as the original game. Obviously, no cast or crew's been announced as yet, but expected to be about 13 episodes long. No official announcement from Netflix, but I don't see why not. This would go down very well with me.
It would with me as well. I think it'd be a good move. I mean, considering the success of The Walking Dead and now the fear of The Walking Dead, there's enough room for another zombie.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I think you could. I mean, Resident Evil's already had one movie as a cartoon, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
You can't remember the name of it. I did have it at some point.
But I think the issue here, or the big issue, is going to be more along the lines of they can do this, but are they going to tie in with the game, or are they going to tie in with the movies?
Well, I think they should tie in with the game, because you're looking at the characters.
Well, the characters were in the movies as well.
They were, but where it's sort of there is a bit of a linear run with the story and the game.
Yeah.
But then it went sort of off tangent.
Definitely.
Even though the first Resident Evil movie was nothing like the Resident Evil game, as much as it was in a house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was a nest and everything else.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'd be interesting. I mean, if it's gonna be more with Leon and Claire and everything else, and all the other characters that are involved in that, which if you haven't got that far through yet, you will get to see later on.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I do hope that they do it. To be honest, I think it'd be something a bit new but familiar.
Yeah,
and actually going back to the game, that's the other thing about the game which we forgot to mention is that it is anybody who's played it will be familiar with it, but because it's the over the shoulder and because the environments have been changed and some of the puzzles have been changed, it represents a whole new challenge. And some characters are better developed as well. I mean, in terms of the beginning, I do think it was actually the beginning was swapped around a little bit in terms of which character went into the garage at the beginning or something. I seem to remember, and something different. Or was it the trucker went into the garage? I can't remember. It was something like that.
No, but there was. We'll talk about it briefly after when we finish. But there's a part of the story that I've got to now, which was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was what I was thinking. I was chatting to Nikki about it today, and I said, "Well, I haven't seen this," and then lo and behold, I come across it. Yeah.
They've repaced it, though, haven't they? They've repaced the whole game.
Graphically, I mean, these cutscenes are just little movies in themselves, aren't they?
Oh, hell yeah. Somebody could YouTube them and stick it in as a movie.
Yeah, I'm sure if you want to just see all the clips, I'm sure someone's done that already.
I'm sure they have.
But, so, do you want to talk about The Walking Dead?
Okay, so the good news is second half of The Walking Dead will soon be released. So, after the season holiday. And it's reported that this new season, or new second half of the season, is going to fill in the details about the time jump from the first half. So it went several years ahead from between season 8 and season 9. So what they're going to do is fill out the backstory with a number of flashbacks. The flashbacks are basically supposed to give you more insights into the characters and a bit more specific than just like a general sort of flashback.
Yeah.
And it's due for release on the 10th of Feb in the States, and it'll be over here in the UK on the 11th of February.
Which is about right.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it because after not liking The Walking Dead for so long and then suddenly finding it or suddenly getting it now, I know that people didn't like the first half of this season. Yeah. I thought it was perfectly fine. I enjoyed it just as much as all of the others. They're doing what they've done every season or every other season, which is reinvent the show. But keeping it faithful to the original, and I like the fact that they keep doing that innovation because it keeps the show fresh.
Yeah.
So, I think that they do well with it, and it's got to 9 years, so must be doing something right. So, 9 seasons, I should say. So, yeah, looking forward to this. It'll be a good one.
Cool. Okay, if we go to cinema releases,
yep,
I'll let you do that one, then I'll have a look at the Blu-ray.
Okay, so the first one is Green Book. Not sure really what that one's about. I don't know if you've heard about that one.
No, not really.
Next one is Escape Room.
Which is quite self-explanatory, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, this next one, which is out on the 1st of Feb, I thought that they'd stop these films, but How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. Because my son used to love How Do You Train Your Dragon years ago, or a couple of years ago, but it just all went quiet and they were supposed to have given it up. So, yeah, and then Can You Ever Forgive Me is the last movie, which is out on the 1st.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I know of Escape Room. I've seen the poster for it. That's about it, really, and I can guess what it's about.
Which one?
Escape Room.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much generic. But other than that, no, that's all there is, to be honest.
Yeah. So I think this is a time of year when it is quiet for movies, to be fair.
Well, it normally does, because you got the Oscars have just been announced.
Yeah.
So that's when it sort of does, because they all try and get them out before, so they try and get their nominations in.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, okay, so Blu-ray DVD releases. Black Lightning Season 1, Blu-ray and DVD?
Yeah, it's a Marvel character, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
It's also on Netflix as well. I watched a couple of episodes, I couldn't get into it.
Fortitude Season 3, I have started Fortitude Season 3, just watched the first episode of that. Luther fans have got a bit there, because they've got 1 to 5 or Series 5 on their Todd there.
Yeah.
Man About the House, now that is digging it from the past.
It is, but what I think to dig up from the past.
I think you can find that on YouTube. Actually, the whole film.
Yeah, but the forerunner to George and Mildred. Do you know what? Now this really got.
I know.
You know what I'm going to say, but
I do.
The woman who played Mildred in George and Mildred, I can't believe it was 1980 that she died.
Yeah, when you first met her, I thought she was still alive because we had Windsor Davis pass recently, and
yeah,
you thought she was still alive, did you?
No, I thought that she died in the 90s. I didn't think it
okay.
was that she died. Because I was still watching George and Mildred in the 80s. I'm sure that they were airing it all the time. It was like a staple sort of, show, wasn't it? But yeah, it just, that, and I thought, well, that explains why we never saw any more George and Mildred.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I quite appreciated that it was sort of 38 years ago.
Yeah.
39 years ago.
Yeah. Something else we got there, we got the Predator quadrilogy Blu-ray DVD.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll have Predator Blu-ray 4K of the
No, not Predator.
movie.
The Predator.
The Predator, which is the latest movie.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Predator.
No, because it's awful. as far as I've heard, it's a bad movie, but I will check it out when it's free to me to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, cinema charts. What we got, Haydn?
Okay, well, it's still not, but The Favourite is at number 5. Mary Poppins is at Returns is number 4. Number 3 is Stan and Ollie. At number 2, it's Ugh Man, Where's My Head? Because it's Mary Queen of Scots. And then at number 1, straight in there, is Glass.
The biggest reflection you're ever going to see.
Oh, I could see right through that joke.
God, you can.
You were very transparent.
I very was, yeah. So, Blu-ray DVD charts.
Okay.
So, down from 2 to 5, we got Mission Impossible Fallout. From 1 down to 4, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. In at 3, we got Red Dwarf Series 1 to 8. In at 2, Doctor Who, the complete 11th series. And in at 1, The Nun, which is a spin-off from the Conjuring series.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what we've been watching.
What have you been watching, Steve?
Yeah, it's funny. As I said, I've watched the whole of the season 1 of the reboot of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I'm now into season 2.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to picking up Torchwood on Blu-ray DVD.
Torchwood.
Because you can get that series. You can get 1 to 4 plus the mini movie they did in the States.
Yeah.
All in one glorious box set. And I love that movie. I say that series. Torchwood is really one to watch. If you're a fan of Doctor Who, or if you're a fan of the X-Files, to be honest, I think it works really well. And going back to watching some Doctor Who of old, I've just forgotten how good the Christopher Eccleston series was.
Well, Christopher Eccleston was really good.
He did well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm now into season 2 and I've just watched Madame Pompadour with that episode there, which is just after Tooth and Claw, which is the werewolf one, if you remember it.
Yeah.
And those are all great episodes. I mean, I know the series took a bit of a nosedive later on, but I'm enjoying watching them again. I record on my phone from Netflix, and I sort of watch it. I watch them in parts at lunchtimes and stuff like that. Really, to be honest, just a nice way to just to watch with that. Watch some more Arrow. Seen some more Arrow, and also some Flash. I don't know why the Arrow is just suddenly wanting to go into the future as a tagline once on side of it. I don't know where that's going to be going or why we're going on that route. But it's been okay. And
I'll tell you what though, it's March until they return.
Well, that's all right, because by the time I've watched what they've got to watch now, I'll be up to speed, I think.
No, it's way too long. It's too much of a big gap.
Isn't it normally February when it comes back?
Yeah, but this is another month on top.
Yeah, but again, this is down to scheduling, isn't it?
It is. And we won't get it before America gets it.
Well, you sort of get it the day after, don't we?
Yeah.
So, anyway, tell me about Bird Box, because I've been meaning to watch this.
Right, okay. Well, I have to admit, this movie really took me by surprise. Because, for a start off, I hadn't been paying any attention to this.
Yeah.
And I knew it was something to do with people being blindfolded. But I didn't know anything more than that there was a woman with long hair and a couple of kids in it. And that's all that I knew because of just seeing the clips. And then obviously all the controversy about people doing the Bird Box challenge with the driving because they're absolutely stupid. And don't realise that, your GPS and parking sensors are not designed for you to be able to drive your car around with the windscreens completely filled over. So that was basically all that I knew about it. And basically this is a sci-fi thriller horror of sorts. It's not particularly horrific, but basically what it is something brainwashes people into making them kill themselves or others, and this sweeps across America, or probably the world. So, and they do this by seeing whatever it is that's doing it. Now, you never actually see what's doing it. It's always, it's like an invisible entity.
It's suggestive to you, isn't it, really?
Yeah, what you can always tell when they're about is because you get sounds and you get leaves rustling up in, like little vortexes. That's how you can tell that they're actually around. So that's the story, basically, is that, this has Sandra Bullock, who's a woman with the brown long hair. Who knew that she had that? So she's like the main star of this. And even though that she's, the age that she is, evidently she's pregnant in the film as well. On the film, not in real life. So, she's an expectant mother to be, going to bring up the child on her own sort of thing. And then she's on her way back from somewhere and suddenly everybody in the street starts going mad. And, when she finds out how pregnant she is, she's coming out of the hospital and this woman looks at her, starts headbutting the head against the glass, splitting the head open and stuff like that. People have to stop her from doing it, and she rushes off, and then all of a sudden this epidemic sweeps the whole of the country. And then people start killing each other or killing themselves in lots of different ways. And she ends up getting into this house with all of these other people. Like there's this woman who goes to help her, who lives at the house, and she's John Malkovich's wife in the film. And then she looks up, sees these things, and then walks into the path of an oncoming vehicle, and basically you just sort of see her body start to liquefy by the speed of the vehicle hitting her. Do you know what I mean? It's, you do see a few gross things on it. So she gets in the house. There's this misfit group of people who, some of which get on, some of which don't. And anyway, they're stuck in this house and they have to get food. They have to get everything that they need, basically, to survive. So hence they have to start going on little trips with blindfolds on, because they realise what's actually happening is when they look out and they can see, when you look out in the daylight, that's when they get you, basically.
Yeah.
And then there are some people who turn but don't kill themselves, but what they do is act as agents as these people.
Okay.
So they'll try and lull people into a false sense of security to take blindfolds off and stuff like that as well. So it's quite an interesting sort of notion. So hence, you can't ever go out in the daylight, because if you do, you might see one of these entities. And it's just a story about their struggle and about, trying to, protect themselves. That's the story of it, basically. But it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Well worth watching, yeah.
Well worth watching. I mean, while I found it gripping, I did think it was about 20 minutes too long.
Do you reckon you could wear a blindfold and watch it that way?
Well, you probably could, but you wouldn't be able to see much of what was going on.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good actually. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to.
Oh, cool. Anything else?
Yeah, the Orville.
Okay, that's one of your favourites, isn't it? So
it is now. Yeah, I mean the new Star Trek. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been watching that as well. The new Star Trek is fantastically cool.
Yeah. I mean, we can just say briefly that episode 2 was really good. Typical Star Trek, though.
It was more typical Star Trek than normal.
More than I've ever seen, I think, in these 2 seasons so far. If you're with me.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, that could have been an episode from Next Generation for all I knew, all I cared. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you could have imagined that they could have rewrote that story a little bit, but in terms of the Orville, Orville, I still feel is more pure Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery.
I don't agree with that. I can't agree.
No,
with
I mean, you've got your opinion, but in terms of the way that the show works, is the way that it's been delivered is very much more in the style of the Next Generation. In terms of, you've got like an android crew member.
Yeah.
An alien on the bridge, all that sort of, who happens to look a little bit like a Klingon, although pretty much more like a Klingon turd than anything else, to be quite honest with you. But the show is obviously going along that sort of like moral question sort of thing that a lot of the Star Trek shows actually did, and explore things in different ways. So, for example, one of the shows is exploring like relationships, and porn addiction.
Okay.
Which it sounds a bit
Which is
strange.
definitely not Star Trek, but
no, definitely not Star Trek, but it's done in the Star Trek style, and that's what I mean. Because
is that what pulls you to it? Is it? Or
no, I don't watch it for the porn, because for a start off, the porn isn't porn. You don't see anything.
No,
other than suggestive comments where you'd probably go, "Ooh, matron," sort of thing.
So I was going to say, is it very carry on?
Yeah, it is very carry on in terms of the way that it's actually delivered.
Yeah.
But the show, it's just so it's so enjoyable. I mean, it is a bit like Star Trek met Family Guy in terms of the humour.
See, I'm not a Family Guy fan.
To be honest, though, the humour's not necessarily all of that. If you gave it a chance and you watched it and you learnt some of the characters. So, for example, like the captain's number 1 is his ex-wife.
That's right. And I have watched the first episode of season 1.
Right. Well, you need to watch a bit more.
But that's as far as I got, to be honest.
To be honest, you need to go and revisit that seriously, because you are missing out on a good show. And a lot of Star Trek fans, a lot of them, actually think it is really, it takes all of like the best stuff out of Star Trek. I don't mean takes a mick, I mean takes it and uses it.
Yeah.
In terms of the way it's delivered. But there's some great stories. I mean, like the security chief, she's only like this, short young woman, but like, she can lift a car sort of thing, because she comes from a planet where the gravity is so crushingly heavy. And there was an episode that was just specifically about her. And get this, it had the Doctor from Voyager on it and Dr. Phlox from Enterprise.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because actually, didn't is it Jonathan Frakes directed one of those episodes?
He's directed a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, and he directed season 2 of Discovery, episode 2 that was on last week as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of it, it's very, there's a lot of Star Trek alumni or that turn up occasionally, but also it's just a way that they take the Star Trek formula, mix it with a bit of Family Guy, and come out with this new thing that feels so familiar in terms of its delivery, pace, everything. Like they have a meeting room like they had in Next Generation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But instead of where it differs is things like where you would have a conversation with Picard and Data on the bridge about being human or whatever, you know, the con officer will be talking to someone else and it'll be about trying to get a date, stuff like that, and just, you know, little daft jokes and stuff like that, but it all works out quite well as it on the show. And I think, you know, most people will enjoy this if you like Star Trek, to be honest.
Okay.
But you might have to watch a couple of episodes just to reacquaint yourself with the different sort of pacing from the Discovery sort of side, because that's quite quick pacing. This is much more your 1980s sort of Star Trek pacing with the moral, you know, the moral story of the week and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
which is always a good part of it. They always have their morals in there.
Yeah, but they're taking those in exactly the same sort of way and delivering it, but it's more culturally relevant now. You know, things like porn addiction, which in the 80s, the only way you could get porn is either grubby videos or magazines, wasn't it? Whereas now there is so many ways that, you know, anybody who's like-minded can get that sort of stuff. And I'm only using this as an example.
I wouldn't know, but yes, I'm sure there are.
But that's not what you told me earlier on. But, but there's also, you know, things like the episode about the security chief. That was very much about family and about, having a father who you never feel like you live up to. You know, what their expectations are, and you feel that they look down on you, and then something happens that makes them, you know, appreciate what you do. Do you know what I mean? And it's it's all of that sort of thing, and it's a bit sentimental and whatever, but it's just good fun.
Okay. Anything else?
Nah, that's it.
Okay, so we'll swiftly move on to the listeners' questions.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, as ever, we've got Mark with a couple of questions to speak to kick us off. The first one is, how long are you willing to give a game to change your mind if you feel that you're not really getting into it?
I think that depends upon the game and how much you've paid for it, to be honest.
Yeah, it can be, but also, if it's that bad, you're not going to go to it, are you? If there's other things that's going to maybe get in the way.
Yeah, I think that there's so many environmentally, you know, relevant factors that play into this. It's how much did you pay for it? Because if you like, you paid £2 for the game and you've played it once and you think that was awful, I'm going to just bite the bullet on that one. But if I've paid £60-70 for a game with a season pass, thinking I'm going to really enjoy it, and then thinking this is the biggest load of rubbish I've ever played in my life, I'm going to try and invest my time in it. Or it might be I've just paid the normal price and everybody else is enjoying it and I'm just not getting it, and I'll probably be more prepared to do something there. But
there's other games to get in the way as well, to be honest.
I was just about to say that as well, as in it also depends upon if was the two games I've played this one, I didn't like it, but I think I might like the other one, then it'll be out of the window and I'll come back to it later when there's a gap.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I picked up something in the sale, but I haven't really played it yet. And
is that Spider-Man?
No, it's that and Tomb Raider.
Yeah, well, I've only got a little bit, about a third of the way through Tomb Raider. In terms of Spider-Man, how much have you played of that?
Oh, I've just opened the world up.
Oh my God, man.
Look, I'm playing Resident Evil. Don't knock it. Something's actually taken me away from Destiny briefly.
That explains things, doesn't it? Think about it. That's why we had a red moon.
Did we?
Yeah, last week.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's why. It's because it took you away from Destiny.
It did. Well, only the point is that I don't. When Chris is around, I'll give him a hand because I want to get him up to speed.
Yeah.
Because I know he'll be on there more than you. So
that's very accusational there.
I
probably will be on, but I'll probably be hidden.
You will be hidden, yeah. Not back in the old fire team, but we'll see.
We'll get the old fire team.
Anyway, so do you want to go for question 2?
Okay, so If you go back to a game after starting it months ago, do you pick up where you left off or start again from the beginning?
It depends how far in I got, because if I've gone very far in and I think I can pick up the controls and how I'm going to play it, I think I'd really want to. I don't think I could go back 30 hours and start again.
No.
Because did I do that with? I think because I lost my game save with Final Fantasy, I think I did go back to the beginning.
Yeah, you had over 24 hours on your Final Fantasy and you restarted, and I said, really? Haven't you seen all the other games that you've got to play? That one's had its day.
Anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, no, it can depend. I mean, I can go. I am easy enough to go back to games. I don't think I could go back to a Mass Effect game. In that point of view, I think I'd have to start from the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah.
As an example.
Yeah, I think that there are some games you need to restart because you miss something. Although, I must admit, if I've put in 15, 20 hours into a game and then I've broke off and have come back, I am not going to start that again.
No.
Because I don't have the time to invest another 15, 20 hours to get where I was. And I will just pick it up as I go along, which can be quite frustrating sometimes because you need higher skill level to play the game, and you're resetting yourself back to beginner skill level, but the environments are a little bit tougher. Yeah. But I do think it's a quick teacher as well to re-educate you about what the controls were. But I have restarted games I've got quite a way in as well. It's like I decided I wanted to give Assassin's Creed Unity another bash. And restarted that.
Yeah, not easy to restart those games if you're going to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I just think some of these open world games are very difficult to start again.
Yes.
Because they're so big.
Yeah.
But if it's a smaller game, then I think it's easy enough to do, isn't it?
Yes. I think, it depends on the game. But it's like Resident Evil 5. Because I had problems getting past the last bad guy, because I could plough in, 40 rockets into his eye, and into his heart, and he still wouldn't die. That one, I was determined I wasn't going to restart, but I knew I had a glitch in the program, so I waited, and then they must have updated it several times in between and reloaded it and got through it straight off.
Just talking about glitches for a minute.
Yeah.
I did have a glitch in Resident Evil.
All right.
Because while someone was chasing me, I got stuck in an area because I could go up and down this corridor, but I couldn't go through any doors.
Is that after that starts chasing you immediately? Is that corridor?
It was one of many corridors. It was on the east side.
Okay. Well, that is on the east side.
Yeah, and it was just really weird. When I went to the maps were spinning, trying to give me a map. So I just turned the Xbox off and rebooted it and carried on for the last game save.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that.
But yeah, I forgot all about that until you mentioned about that. But yeah, it was really weird. But anyway, so let's go to Facebook then.
Yep.
And as I'm trying to have a drink and I've got something to do with in my hands at the minute, do you want to read Paul Wilson's question for me?
Okay. So Paul says, let's be honest, what percentage of games have you completed in the last 12 months of your total purchases? I have completed very few, but way too many games in progress. Totally understandable considering the amount of big releases, 20 to 100 hours plus or more. So finally, my question, would you feel more satisfied overall if games were shorter or games completed rather than potentially feeling overwhelmed by the amount of games that deserve to be completed? I feel as if I'm suffering from some kind of obesity based on my current games to complete list with further purchases still in mind. So really there's two questions there. So what percentage of games have you bought have you actually completed?
0 at the moment.
In the last year?
In the last year, I think I completed Resident Evil 7 was the last one. That was last year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or was that year before now?
That was a year before. That was a year before.
Yeah, it was. Believe it or not, because we're close to the end of the year, aren't we? So
yeah.
Or should I say start of the year. I don't know. I don't think I have.
Right, so Steve's percentage is zero.
You probably got about 25 games. We know what you're like.
What, that have completed?
Yeah.
Mate, I completed about 50 games last year.
There you go, then.
I was doing at least one a week, most weeks.
Yeah. But they were crappy games, though, weren't they?
No, a lot of them weren't. To be honest.
If you say so.
No, a lot of my games weren't crappy games. I mean, like, for example, Far Cry 5.
I don't mean that in the wrong way. But what I mean is they were very much little titles that you could.
You mean indie games?
Maybe not necessarily, but these little games that you can crack out like 7 hours worth of gameplay to get the game complete.
Yeah, there's nothing about with that. I mean, Hellblade, for example, that's a 7-hour game, but it's great.
Yeah, it's all about what you enjoy at the end of the day. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. But it depends again. It goes down to what do you classify as completed, in inverted commas, a game? Do you mean completed the story, or do you mean maxing out the achievements?
I don't think achievements come into it at all. I think it's basically if you've completed the story, you're done.
Right, okay. I would say in that case that about 80% of the games that I played last year I completed.
And where Resident Evil 2 is concerned, to complete the story, you've got to play both sides of the scenario.
Yes.
So,
otherwise you get into trouble.
Yeah.
And then have to rewrite your review.
Yeah, that's it, you will. That's wrong with it. Okay. Mark Tudor. Good evening, Haydn and Steve. Do you think the golden age of gaming has passed us by? I do, 100%. Games like Resident Evil 2 getting a re-release are great for those who haven't played the original, but it's just boring. Old hat for me. Sorry, I don't totally disagree with what he's saying here. I need new games and feel like I've loved games more than ever when I was younger. Now I'm 41 and eternally searching for a new experience. What are your thoughts?
It's a tough one. Because there was a golden age of cinema, but to be honest, I didn't like any of the films from the golden age of cinema. I much prefer the films, nowadays, sort of thing. So I think a lot of it depends upon your perspective. I think that there are points in video game console cycles, where you get the good games. And before, both sides of that, it's a little bit hit and miss, maybe.
Mm.
But sorry, go on.
I was going to say I disagree where he's on about Resident Evil 2 because that is not a remaster. That's actually made from the ground up. So it is a new game with an old story. That's like the latest Predator movie, or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't say like it's because that's a sequel rather than what it is. It's like the difference between Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Or actually The Omen
and
the Omen, because when they filmed when they redid it, they used the same script word for word, believe it or not. So,
well, it's not even that though, is it? Because this isn't the same. It's very similar, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and I say, people think this is a remaster. It's not. Totally not. This is a new game with a new engine from the ground up, as if you were going to do any other game that's been coming out over the last 7 or 8 months, sort of thing. But anyway, I know what he's saying. I mean, there's one game we haven't talked about today, and the reason I didn't talk about the demo for Anthem because I couldn't get on it.
No, neither could I. It just went to the main screen, and that was it.
Yeah, and it was a screensaver then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even a screensaver because if you'd have had the right type of TV, you'd have got burn on it.
It was dreadful.
It didn't move.
No, it didn't. I was watching the bar on top of the screen. It got to about the last 10th of it, and it sat there. So I then just turned it off. So sorry, Anthem. It's I really wanted to give it a go, but yeah, that's the way it goes. Really,
it's 2019. They shouldn't be having server issues now.
No. So, anything else you would like to say about Mark Tudor's question at all?
I think what you've got to remember as a video gamer is we are going to see reimaginings or reworkings of the games that we've loved. We're also going to see like remasters as well. Remasters to me are a bit of more of a lazy man sort of version. What they should be doing is redoing the game, but with, updating things a little bit as well. Personally, I think if I was to ask a 20-year-old what the golden age gaming is, he'd probably say that it's now. I think it's just our perspective.
He'd say it's Call of Duty or something, wouldn't he? He won't go much further, will he?
I think it's just a perspective, but I think that certainly the console cycles have a golden age where the best games get released, and then we move on to the next cycle, and then the ability to program those starts to build up again and get the most out of them. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree totally, and it is a shame. I mean, I think, to be honest, we're not getting any younger, and I think with the amount of games we've played all over these years, sometimes we're looking for something different.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, because we've played so many games, and we've been there basically for most of the life cycle of games generally.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we've seen an awful lot. Someone new coming in isn't going to feel the same way. Kids the age of my son and that sort of thing, they're not going to feel the same way at all.
No.
And gaming is a different beast now to what it was back in the 80s and the 90s.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I think we need to go Craig, because we've already done Nicky's in the previous section.
We have, yeah. So would you like to read Craig's?
Craig's asking, rank these. Which would you want the most? A lightsaber, a sonic screwdriver, a tricorder, or a gravity gun from Half-Life 2? Which would be your first? Which would be your last?
Difficult. I think I'd put the tricorder last. So I'm going from last to first.
Yeah.
And I'd probably put the gravity gun next.
Yeah.
Followed by the lightsaber. And out of all of those, I think I'd have the sonic screwdriver.
Right, okay. Why?
Because really the lightsaber's only got one little use to it. It's for slicing and dicing, where a sonic screwdriver, you can get into locks and all sorts of... It would help you out more, to be honest, in a day-to-day basis.
What about the tricorder?
Yeah, well, I put that last because, it's just going to tell you things, isn't it? Well, I think I want to get things open and do things with it. I think I'd use a sonic screwdriver.
Right, okay. Well, my answer's completely different.
It will be. The lightsaber last?
No, I would have the tricorder. I'll go from best to last. So worst to best, rather.
Well, no, really worst, but it's from 5 to 1.
My preference.
Yeah.
So my bottom one would be the gravity gun from Half-Life.
Yeah.
Because unless I want to lift stuff, not really going to be my bag. And I don't work for Pickford, so therefore it's not really for me. Next one is going to be the lightsaber, because, as you said, it only has one use, and I will probably end up chopping my own limbs off with it anyway.
And you might be able to make some toast out of it. That's probably about it.
We're not talking about the film version of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the
No, I
Galaxy
know,
here.
but I was just thinking that. I
know what you were thinking, yeah. The next one would be the sonic screwdriver, because that has lots of usages and it can do scanning and stuff like that. But in reality, when you look at Star Trek and the things it's done, the tricorder can do all of what the sonic screwdriver can do, and also some other stuff, and it can tell you stuff.
I don't think it tells you. I don't think it could break a lock for you or do you know what I mean? It couldn't get you out of sticky situations.
Trust me, they would come out with the techno babble.
But it ain't. But it ain't. It don't do that. We know that.
What they'll do is, Captain, I will oscillate the frequency in order to create a sonic blast which will open up this lock. Boop. That's what'll happen on Star Trek. But
it doesn't at the moment, so it don't count.
Well, even so, because using a tricorder, it's a diagnostic tool, so if my computer went, I could scan it and go, oh, that's what's the matter with it, and sort it out immediately. You can trace where power lines are and stuff like that. You have so many different uses. Sonic screwdriver, unless you want to open up a deadbolt, you're pretty much screwed with it.
Well, anyway, last question, which is basically for you anyway, and we don't want to go too deep, but just a brief answer from yourself, okay?
I don't do brief.
Well, when it's to do with Queen, it will be brief.
Oh, mamma mia.
So Nicky Wilson is saying, what does Haydn think about the fourth wall break in Bohemian Rhapsody and also the factual inaccuracies?
Start off, I can't remember what the fourth wall break was, I'll be honest. But it obviously didn't hit home with me that much because I didn't really pay any attention to it. In terms of the factual inaccuracies, what I would say, and I know that the film has had a lot of different things here because the movie painted Freddie Mercury in a bit of a negative light and making it look like he'd split Queen up when you actually look at the reality of it. And Roger Taylor had actually gone and released a couple of albums before, those being Fun in Space and Stranger Frontier in 1981 and 1984 respectively, both of which were before the Mr. Bad Guy album of 1985, which is what Freddie released. And also in terms of the timings, Live Aid was in 1985, and Freddie Mercury, according to a lot of different sources, was diagnosed with HIV in 1987, which we know makes sense because wasn't the Kind of Magic tour after Live Aid or around the same time?
It's Kind of Magic tour which went to Wembley.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd have to Google it to double check. I'm not too sure. It may well have been after. Must have been.
I have a feeling it was. I'm trying to remember what the exact date of it was. Yeah, it was 1986. 7th of June to the 9th of August, 86 was the Magic Tour. So, and he didn't. There was nothing in the news or anything about him having HIV then either, which was obviously after Live Aid. It makes sense since it was diagnosed in April 87. So, in terms of that, I did say when I, talked about it, I said it was a fantastic movie, and it did give you some insights into Queen. Not all insights, and I did say as well that I felt that it was inaccurate because it did play up Freddie Mercury's lifestyle and play down Roger Taylor's, Brian May's and John Deacon's, what they did as well. And painted them a little bit like, angels with halos, whereas Freddie Mercury was Mr. Bad Boy. Do you know what I mean? But what I would say is, it's a movie. It's artistic license. It's not actually saying it's a blow-by-blow, proper, drama about true historical events. What they've done is, they've mixed up the timeline a little bit in order to make it feel more dramatic.
Well, to be honest, you get that with a lot of books turned into movie anyway. Look at Ready Player One, for example. Yeah. And that was pulled around from pillar to post. So, Yeah, think of it as what it is, to be honest. It's an entertaining, and it just reminds you of what a great band Queen were, to be honest. I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it doesn't take away from Rami Malek's portrayal of Freddie Mercury, which was... Well, he deserves an Oscar for his performance. He was fantastic. As a matter of fact, they were all fantastic, all of the group. Everyone who played in that. The guy who played Brian May, he just absolutely looked the part as well. There was a great video of Brian May teaches Brian May how to do the guitar. If you saw that, it was on YouTube, where it was like, Mr. Anita Dobson teaching him. The person who was playing him in the movie. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic film, but there was a lot of artistic license, and to be honest, even Freddie Mercury, people's lives are pretty boring. It might have ended up being a pretty boring movie if it had been totally factually accurate. So
okay, so there it is. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, that's how I explain it to myself.
Okay, so that was the last question. So we're done.
Record time this time, I think.
Well, no, actually, we did start relatively early, so it's going to give me time to do my chores because I've got to be up really early tomorrow morning for work, and I've got a long trip then after a meeting from Frimley to Bristol. So there'll be work cut out for me my first day on call. But there we go. Anyhow, so outro. So contact details for myself: Twitter @Steve007. PSN ID is the real Steve007. Xbox Steve007 and email steve07@popculturegamers.co.uk. Haydn, yours are?
YouTube channel, search for HERJ UK, Twitter HERJ UK, PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, Origin, Ubisoft, all of those ones, HERJ UK. If you want to, you can join our Facebook group. If you've got any inquiries, you want to send us an email as well, you can also email podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. We have our website, which is popculturegamers.podbean.com. And also don't forget, if you want to support the show, you can support it via our Patreon. But not only that, if you would prefer not to have to part with any money, you can also support in other ways by sharing links to the show with your friends and other people, getting the word out that we're here as well. So there's lots of different ways you can join in. But please do follow us on YouTube as well. I'm trying to match what the content of the show is with what we're actually doing. What's on the YouTube as well, so that it is sectioned off into the show and then the different bits, so that, there's we can divert you to trailers of movies we talk about or shows and that sort of stuff as well. Just to make it a bit more entertaining if you're interested in something that we can actually show you it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so that's a wrap. And as Yoda walks back in the room, it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from me, too.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.